You leave?
Oh, sorry.
This is continuation.
9 o'clock.
That's right. No.
I guess we got some, whatever you wanna call them.
Motions?
Motions, yeah, those things. A few motions here to take care of. Motion to approve contributions to Southern Coffee County After Prom Committee with funds to come from the following: $500 special law enforcement fund, $500 diversion fund for the Southern Coffee County After School Prom.
Also move.
I'll second. Don's moved, Jesse seconded. All, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Another one here, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign letters regarding 2022 city park and recreation grant funds.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Bob moved, Tom seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That's all we have. That's all we had, right?
Yep.
Can I ask
Hang
you
on a
guys-
minute.
Oh,
I've got,
There's one there for every city.
I've got 2 copies of, I don't have one for, let me see here. Yeah, I just got, I don't have one for Burlington. I have 2 for, Leroy. I don't have one for Burlington.
so, yeah, mine was the same way. I got
Really?
Leroy, so I'll go run down and.
Well, I don't need it, I just, I mean, I'd like to have one a little later, but.
One otherwise, yeah, what I was gonna give you, but
Somebody
I
have
had you
two,
find Leroy
need a
twice,
Leroy?
and not Burlington, so I'll go put it
Leroy.
I got it.
I just thought maybe someone had 2 instructions.
Leroy, Dudley, Lee
I
Bug,
got 2 Leroys.
You got
I
2
got two
Leroys,
Leroys.
okay, just,
Okay, so yeah, we can print that
Rich
one.
Line.
yeah, if you would just bring up Burlington, I can lay on the deal, so I just have it, please, thank you. Okay, I'm ready.
So I guess I do have a question here on one, sorry. We just moved to give the 500, oh, okay, never mind. I apologize.
Andrew,
We not
I
have
don't need
anything
the
for
letter.
where?
I've got this, I don't need the letter.
Get the one for
They're
you.
listed on the list.
They're listed on the
They're
list.
listed on a list,
But they
yeah.
don't, they're not on the, yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't need a
Actual
letter,
please.
all I wanted was a list,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am?
Before you guys get started, because I'm gonna have to take out here in a few, Anderson County is gonna be hosting the Southeast Kansas County Officials Meeting Thursday, March 17th. And, it'll be at the Anderson County Junior Senior High School, so I need to know how many of you will be attending that.
When did you say it was?
Thursday, March 17th,
I will be out of town.
okay?
Before we do it, we have a motion on the floor, we need to take care of it. We never need to approve.
Oh, yeah. We need to vote on
Parks
it.
and Recreation.
Oh,
We didn't vote on
okay,
it.
sorry.
Sorry, Andy, but we need to take care of that.
Back to the motion on the floor, 2022 City Parks and Recreation Grant Fund. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes.
The registration is from 9 to 10
Roll right out.
at Anderson County Junior Senior High School.
Okay, I might have to check. When do you have to let them know?
I need to know by March 1st, so,
Alright.
Can I get a copy of that later? And I'll
Yeah.
put it- I'm available that day.
are you
so-
gonna be able to go? Okay, so for sure
I don't think
one,
I can.
You said the
March
17th.
17th.
Correct.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day.
Not that it's a big one.
So are you gonna be able to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at the Irish.
I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, so for project. All right,
Right.
well, you guys let me know.
Right now, I can go, I wouldn't mind having a copy of it.
I will, I'll get you a copy. Okay, that's all I have.
That's all you got? Dr. Sloyd, or how are you, sir?
Hey guys, here with the health department today, I guess, so.
Looks like a healthy bunch.
I know. Can we talk then, are we ready to
Yes,
do
come
this?
on up.
So,
I guess our question was to
Yeah.
Lindsay about the testing and,
Yeah, I think, you know, we're 2 years into this deal, and I think, one thing we've definitely started to see a pattern. I think you guys see this pattern too. I mean, the first year was after Thanksgiving, we had that big spike, and this year it was after Christmas. And so, I mean, our prediction would be the next big spike is gonna be next winter. I mean, I would say that if last year was a guide, you know, I think we'll see the numbers continue to drop. We should have a good spring, we should have a good summer. We did have a little bump in the numbers in August when school started back up, and so that may happen again, it's hard to say. The current variant, the Omicron variant, seems to be a fairly forgiving one. It's not as intense as the Delta. And so I think that's good. The disease symptoms seem to be a little less. It's a little shorter. It's not, although it may be more contagious, it doesn't seem to be as dangerous as the previous variant. Now, you know, within a matter of months, this thing could go a different direction, and the next variant may be a little tougher. You just don't know, right? So, you know, so I think we have to be kind of ready for that. As far as, you know, looking back over the last couple of years, I think our health department's done a lot of different things for our community as far as, you know, providing vaccines to people who want them. You know, we've been able to kind of step up and get some of those. Looking back at it, I thought the nurses there did a really good job of handling all the contact tracing. We did that for almost 2 years. And looking back at it, after turning that over to the state in January and seeing kind of what a mess that's turned out to be, I think our gals did a really good job of that. And so, you know, that may be a role that we have to go back and look at. I was just talking to Lindsay. I guess this state is maybe coming down with some kind of, I got to read through it. We just got this yesterday, I guess. But there's some kind of new thing that they're going to maybe make the schools do, and it may not be a good option for us. It may not be the way we want to manage it. So we'll have to look at maybe taking back over contact tracing again, just so that we can help our schools out, kind of smooth out that process. So we'll kind of look at that. So, you know, what's the plan for our health department as far as COVID-19 for this upcoming year? I would like our gals to continue to look at the vaccine, and we have to wait for new recommendations. Are they going to recommend more boosters? I don't know. If they do, we may have to look at maybe doing some more of those vaccine clinics. We may be looking at the contact tracing again. As far as the testing option, you know, we really didn't have a huge need for doing the testing because Auburn had, I think, some funding and some different things that was behind the scenes that was helping they were doing free tests. Those have now become, I think, what are they, $49 or $50, I guess, now to do. So that option now becomes a cost. The clinic and hospital has an option, but apparently it comes with you have to pay a copay, a visit to get in. So for some of our residents in Coffee County that maybe don't have the funding available that they can go get this test at Auburn at the clinic, it's nice for those people to have an option. With the numbers dropping down, though, it doesn't seem very efficient to keep that open 5 days a week for an hour a day. So what I was thinking of doing for March maybe is to maybe go to Monday, Wednesday, Friday for an hour, just kind of see how this next month goes, try to get through spring break, see if there's another little surge there, and then maybe just discontinue it at least temporarily for, you know, until maybe the numbers bump again, which may be in the fall. So does that mean we have to keep that little thing over there? Probably not. But it would be nice if, you know, let's say Thanksgiving, things start ramping up again. It'd be nice to be able to have that unit, you know, replaced back over there so we could do it again. I don't think doing testing here in the building is probably a good idea. And so probably that off-site spot is as good as any, I suppose. But I don't think we need to keep that cargo container there for the entire summer, or spring, summer, fall. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but.
so you think maybe keep it here through
Into
March?
Start phasing it out. Since the numbers have fallen, we'll phase it out too, and just kind of drop our numbers down, our hours that we're in there. How many have we been doing today? 6, you said?
1 to 6.
1 to 6. So, I mean, there really wasn't much of a need for that, and like I said, until January 1st, and kind of all of a sudden we needed some of that. So I was glad we did that. We kind of missed the peak of it because we were going through the logistics of testing in the parking lot versus testing across the street, so we kind of missed out on some of that big peak. But I think we learned a lot from that, and I think that we're ready for the next spike. So if it happens, I don't know, how fast can that building be delivered? Was it?
Pretty quick. I think Andrea.
It was within a couple of weeks.
Where'd it come out of?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. So we'll have to kind of just look at the numbers, and as we start to feel that surge again, maybe we say, hey, hopefully it's available. It's hard to say how many other people trying to compete for that building, but, you know, I think it's a good option to have. You know, it gives our Coffee County residents a place to go, it's easy, it's free, right? I mean, there's no cost associated with it to it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And just
Well, there is a
right
cost.
now, it's
No,
the
yeah,
two-
to us,
the
but
two
not to the
staff-
individual,
Yeah,
right?
the two.
Well, yes, it is, because
Yeah.
it's their taxpayers'
True.
money that's paying for it.
True.
And with that in mind, could, you know, we talked about maybe an hour a day for 3 days. If we're only having one, and it seems to me like they've probably been coming in fairly early from what I've been trying to keep track of that. If we're still only getting one or two,
Mhm.
we cut it back to half hour for 3
Sure.
days, because
Yeah.
every time we send 2 people over there, it's costing the taxpayers.
Absolutely, yeah. Does it require 2 people?
Well, we don't want to send someone alone,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
safety reasons.
Yeah.
Is there a big surge at the beginning of that shift, then at 9 o'clock when it opens?
I think it just depends. I mean, if we just do 9 to 9:30, 3 days a week, I think that'd be fine. And I think once the weather gets better, we could go back to car testing. I mean, once April gets here, I mean, that,
Car testing in the parking lot?
like going out, where we schedule them between 9 and 9:15, and we just know we're gonna be outside testing in cars, which,
Weren't there employees in the facility though that weren't a big fan of that?
that was when we had them coming to the back door.
I thought there was an issue with bringing the test inside, that people were concerned about the contagiousness of that sample.
I did that for a year
Mhm.
prior to, and
Yeah. I mean, I know there's minimal risk if any, it's an airborne disease, it's not necessarily a contact. So, yeah, so yeah, I mean, and maybe next year we wouldn't even need the container type of deal. You know, to me, going out and sampling them out, and it's one thing to bring the sick individual into our facility here in this building, but you should be able to go out and swab them out in the parking lot and bring that sample in and run the test here inside the building. That's not gonna put anybody in this building at risk. But, yeah, in a perfect world, we would do that. That's what we tried doing, but like, apparently they were coming to the back door and people were worried about
Well,
that.
once the weather got colder and the tests weren't developing, we moved it closer to the building.
Mhm.
And
that's what-
rain and snow and sleet, things like that would alter the results.
Yeah,
But I don't mind keeping the little thing over there either, I mean, it's been,
We've got it on rent for 6 months, so
Yeah.
it's up to you guys,
Right.
I would say.
but I guess,
In my opinion only.
but if we say pick it up April 1st, we don't have to pay for those additional months, right?
Correct.
Okay.
or we get refunded what we were.
You know, as far as that goes, they could pick it up April 1st and turn around and drop it off, what, October?
Good. If we wanna be proactive and say, hey, drop it off November
Pencil us
1st.
in-
Yeah,
pencil us
pencil us in
in
for November 1st, or,
1st.
yeah,
But you're not gonna catch the first start up of school.
no. And that wasn't as big, not nearly as big as the spike was after Thanksgiving 2 years ago and Christmas.
And the weather's a little better, I mean,
Right.
potentially you could set up a tent or a table over, I mean, as long as the,
I would say where a person run it for 6 months, I'd just have it, pick it up April 1st and turn around and drop it off November 1st.
Yeah, we can do that.
And I
Yeah.
think we're really good at being flexible, we've
Mhm.
flexed for 2 years plus
Yeah.
now with this, so.
And I think if you guys advertise it that it's gonna be Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the month of March, 9 to 9:30, people will adapt to that. And then after that, we should be proactive and say, you know, we'll still offer testing, but it's gonna be out in the parking lot.
Yeah, but sometimes there's issues here with parking and all that jazz, so,
So not
I
have
don't-
testing at all for that.
well,
month,
we need to, yeah.
Hopefully, we're gonna have a lot more issues with parking for a little while, because there's gonna be a lot of construction going on,
Yeah.
hopefully.
We don't wanna get into that.
If we keep the shack till after spring break, and then a week or two, and see what happens, and nothing's elevates from what it is right now.
Yeah.
I think it'd be time to move on down the road.
So then basically offer no testing for April, May, June, July, August, September, October, for that 7-month stretch, just rely on Auburn or the hospital if they need to then. Is that all right?
Unless you have a spike for some unknown reason.
How would we handle that then? Bring the cargo thing back or do
If you had an unknown spike, you'd almost have to bring it back, rather than, you know, especially if Auburn and the hospital's charging, and some people may not have the funds.
Right. I wish people were, some people are able to do this. I mean, you can go online and get free home kits sent to you, you know, and they'll send, I think, 4 kits or whatever, but people have to have the resources to know how to do that and get that accomplished. But I mean, to me, that's the future of all this, is just really having people do their own testing. But
I think you'll see that's a mess, just like the state trying to do the
Yeah.
contact tracing.
It's
Well,
definitely,
Some people are testing every day just to know, and that uses resources that
yeah.
we found we need. And
There's a lot of
people are
wasted
coming
tests.
every single day just to see if they have it or not. Or they're going to see someone and they wanna know 3 days before. I mean, that's where I look at it. That's the hard thing for me, is when I know people need it and our testing gets low.
Shoved one up their nose yesterday and now you're back again.
Because it's free, I mean, that's how I look at it, because it's free,
Right.
they'll come every
But
single day.
it's not free because it
No.
costs the
Never
taxpayer.
free.
No,
Nothing's
but
free,
the
right?
people aren't paying for it.
Right.
There's no fee.
Yeah, I guess that's what I should say.
We'll look at that and see, but.
I mean, I don't know, only other easier thing is just leave the box there. I mean,
Maybe the sheriff could use it for a sale or two.
How much is it to purchase the actual box?
You can't purchase from these particular companies, they just rent only. So we would have to, I mean, if you wanna keep that one, a suggestion only would be to keep it. And then find a portable one you can purchase. But I did inquire about when I set all that up, I asked that company, can you buy these? And they said no. They're a company that just, they rent office trailers for job sites, is what it is. So
Right.
That's basically what that is.
My feeling is, this is gonna go away. I'm
Right.
gonna be positive about it's gonna go away.
Mhm.
I think, do what we just discussed after spring break for a couple of weeks and see, get rid of the trailer. If we have a problem, we can get a trailer.
Right.
You can rent one back.
We can
Yeah.
get one, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy.
Good.
Not really difficult.
I mean, I'm hoping that, I think we're gonna have a spike every year, and I'm hoping we're just gonna learn to live with this, and we'll rely on our hospital and clinic like we have for other illnesses, and we don't have to, keep doing this every year.
By the next spike, the state might have total different rules,
You never know.
what they want done.
Every month's a little different.
And if it's not, we can get a trailer.
There you go. All right, sounds good. I think we move forward with that if you're all right with that, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep,
you
yep.
for coming in, I appreciate it.
Oh, you
What's
did
that?
make a good, he made a correct statement on you guys doing your contact tracing. I mean,
Yeah.
when I had it, when my family had it, it was top notch.
Yeah.
I was commend you all for that.
Yeah, I don't know another county that maybe did as good a job as these guys did.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
'cause you can about put it on your watch, telephone rings up, yep. Making sure you're still alive.
They did a very good job.
Yep. I know people that's had it a month ago that's still waiting on the state to call them.
Yeah.
They prioritize under 18 and over the age of 65.
Oh, really?
At some point, they told us that's what they were gonna do because they had so many cases that
They didn't know how they was
they didn't
gonna
know what,
handle it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know several people as well that never got contacted, so.
And Michigan does, like, they'll call once, and if they leave a message, and they call again and you don't answer, then they do what's called loss of follow-up, and they don't try it anymore.
They don't try
It's
again.
done,
Yeah.
no matter age or anything, so.
We're still doing the pulse oximeters, we still have those, so if the physicians refer someone over, we can get those handed out. That's the oxygen finger checker, which we feel has been the best tool to have for this. So we're still doing that with our grant funding.
How long do you think, I mean, I guess there's probably gonna, if it continues, there's gonna be more grants that come down the pipeline, I would guess.
We have a 3-year grant that we need to finish out.
Oh,
We
okay.
need to make a decision, for the grant, the next grant year. We have approximately $95,000 for an infrastructure money. So if there was an option to purchase a trailer, I mean, I would hate to purchase a trailer just for a testing that might not occur, but if we could find a multi-use for it, and buy it, earmark it to use for COVID testing, but, maybe a multi-use.
How long, when's
If we're
this
running
grant?
out of storage room here, we do have a need for storage of sharps containers. So maybe if we didn't use it for testing, we could house our sharps containers close, but not in the building.
When does it,
a thought.
when's the grant run out?
The grant, this $95,000 infrastructure money, will run out in 2023.
Oh, well.
So we have to, but I have to budget for it, and so it will start July 1st of '22 and run through June 30th of '23, that $95,000. So we have to figure out what we're going to use it for, or
You have to earmark it, basically. You gotta have
We
categories.
have to
of
budget
going-
for it, or just say we don't want it.
Right.
So we've already been approved for it.
But you can
We've been
budget,
approved for that amount.
you can budget for it and not spend it.
Well,
You can budget for it and not spend it. You don't have, just because you budget for something, you don't have to spend it.
typically, but with this specific grant, they need to know,
They want to know, do we have intention of using it? Or if we don't, they're going to disperse it to other counties that will use it.
and that decision needs to be made fairly quickly here. Our grants are due to the state in 2 weeks, is that on the same timeline?
Yeah. We're trying to get them wrapped up before Lindsay's last day. So that will have to be turned in with our state grant request.
So what do you have that you can place monies to? Do you have certain things that you've already, like, earmarked?
We've done some salaries off of that, a portion of salaries. We've done the pulse oximeters, like Gatorade packets, you know, for the COVID positive. It's hard to spend the money because it is so.
We can't buy gloves, but we can buy a
So-
building to store gloves in with it.
So
Yeah, that
restrictive on what you can use.
It's very
Very
restricted.
restricted.
Yeah, it's the, we can't buy sharps containers, remember this one, this is the one we can buy a shed for sharp containers.
We
but-
can't buy a car to transport us to the clinics that we need to do, but we can buy a shed to put the car in, like.
But we just talked Tuesday about, you paying, that grant money paying for the rent of that shack out there
Correct.
a little bit, and that money,
Yeah, we did hear back from the auditor that we can do with that what we need, whatever we want, so that'd be fine to do.
So we could purchase a shed.
Well, I would think, I mean, they've got them little mobile trailer houses, they got them ones on wheels, offices on wheels that maybe be better in this container.
The only thing I liked about the container was ground level.
Ground
Right.
level is the only way to go, like.
It's
Yeah.
not-
And
it's
see,
nice.
if you buy one in similarity, which I know you can probably, but just not from this particular company, it's easier to transport just because all you need is a company that's got a roll-off,
Mhm.
roll on, roll off.
It was
roll on.
so fast and easy,
Yeah,
I was stressing for nothing.
pretty
Well,
slick.
yeah, a roll-off truck, a record truck could even do it.
Yeah.
Winch it on and
Rinse it off.
winch it on.
Yep.
So,
And depending on what your plans are for that space over there, perhaps it's something that makes sense for future use for whatever that need is. So if that's intended to be a parking lot in the future, if it were a facility that could house the ice melt or the whatever's needed to maintain the parking lot or maintain for that. We've even discussed, can we suggest buying one of those covers for a health department vehicle, or a carport, or the county.
why don't we just look into one of those little buildings, like down here on the south side of town? Just a little building, person can throw some insulation, it's fairly inexpensive, and you can just set it there.
And if they're on skids, aren't they mobile, like, can you?
Yeah, you can move
Or are
those.
they, I mean, we're not opposed to sharing it, cause the public doesn't come in, you know what I mean? We
Right.
are in there, so ice melt and things like that, like, we don't want it to just be used for us only for a few months out of the year.
And
I think the
you
problem
can-
though, heat, this already has like the heat and the air and the electricity, and to set up a little building like that, it
Right.
might equal out in price in the long run. But this setup has been, it's great, the windows, how they are, because they don't come in the building, they can come to one and register and the other one to test.
Mhm.
I mean, it really is ideal, this one, and it can have storage.
Yeah, it's been great, that's a great solution. All of
I
it.
do know they make those cargo containers, they turn them into small houses, they use them as it is. You can order one, I'm sure, not that the ones on the south end of town, you can do the same thing with those.
I was just thinking they look a little nicer than a container
Yes.
sitting there.
They
That's the only thing I was going
No,
off of.
it's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
And you-
And it's local.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can design those any way you want to, with the windows.
Windows.
Yeah, you can design it however you
we need
want.
to clean the parking lot out first.
Right, I'm just saying, thinking it's gonna look a little nicer sitting there than a box.
If we
Steel
think,
container.
if we think we're gonna get the parking lot cleaned off, leveled off and made into parking lot this next year, Jennifer can go ahead and budget for one of the, some kind of a shed, and then we can get it, but,
The only other thing about the containers, a little harder to break into.
There's nothing of value
Right.
in there
But
right
unless
now
you
for
use
us.
it for storage for something.
Yeah, Sharps containers.
Yeah, who's gonna want them?
Full Sharps containers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something that I think would look a little nicer than a steel container sitting there. And it's also as well ground level, I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, and something that makes sense, like we don't wanna be spending money just to.
It doesn't make sense to just spend money because it's available, I
Right.
think. we
But
need
if you
to-
can put it to
Jennifer,
use,
I
and
agree.
something you
Yeah.
might be able to use it for, then why not?
Multi-use, right.
Right.
and that tank, that building does not have to sit right there when we get the parking lot done. It can sit to the back side of the parking lot, and people can still drive through. There's a lot of options, but I would suggest that maybe Jennifer go ahead and figure out budget for a building of some kind,
Okay,
and hopefully we can get that project done, because it's just sitting there doing nothing. And then we can put a building in it over the next year.
Well, that would be something I was gonna suggest later, and take it was, I know Tim's been doing some research on some companies that do demolition as well as salvaging,
Mhm.
and I have two, whether we come up, I mean, there's people nationwide, we come up with 5 different contacts or whatever, I'm just throwing out suggestions, is all this is, not requests, but then just have Andrea contact those and put a 4-month time limit on it, or 3-month, we need a price, you can come in and salvage what you want, take the building down. Then I don't know what kind of effort it would be for the county to get a permit on the river down there on Joe Rohr's place. I think you could dump that whole church in that hole down there. I don't know if you drove by and looked at it, but it's quite a hole. So that could be part of the contract to get that done, because, yeah, that's the end goal is to turn that into a parking lot, so whether it be municipal or what, but.
I know
Wonder.
we talk about it nationwide, but we got locals who do that kind of stuff too. So,
Do what? Just a building that size?
sure,
And salvage what they want out of it?
sure.
Who's that?
We've got Pears, we've got Victory, all those people could do that kind of stuff if they wanted.
They're gonna come in and take the same glass and stuff out?
They can do whatever they wanted. I thought my opinion is, and I thought we could have discussed it, we hire a contractor to come in, and they do whatever they want. If they don't wanna salvage it, they don't have to salvage it, but it's their choice.
I guess what my thinking was there's enough, value to that stained glass window and that scrolled stonework, some of that woodwork inside to a architectural salvage company. To offset the cost of getting that tore down, was my opinion, to where,
That's what I thought we was going with.
and I'm sure Pears would be glad to give us a price to tear it down, but I guess I'm thinking that scrolled stonework, that's a, most of these people I'm considering or thinking of, I guess I should say, is they have the avenues to resell these items.
Mhm.
That's what they do for a living. So I'm not opposed to giving locals a chance, not at all. Not in my meeting.
And they can get online and research where that kind of stuff you can sell it to.
Mhm. Oh, the salvage is big nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
For this whole.
Well, and sorry, we're getting off track.
It's fascinating.
So I guess, I mean, another way to look at it is, you get hold of one of those architectural salvage people and let them come get what they want and get a bid from locals just to demo the rest of it and haul it to the river.
Might not cost us a dime.
It needs to be a two-step.
Yeah.
It needs to be two-step.
I was thinking about getting it all in one.
Ask for bids out there
Doesn't matter
for salvage, what salvage companies could do, and then after that date is passed, ask for bids to demolition rest of it. To me, it needs to be a two-step bid.
My concern on that end, if a guy goes that route, you're gonna have a timeline from
You're gonna,
salvaging to tearing down.
Hazardous structure.
Yep.
Every time you start salvaging a little bit, it becomes more hazardous.
Yep.
And we probably have the insurance to cover that, but when you start just getting people crawling everywhere, is that
So the company gets the bids, they're gonna have to supply a bond for liability insurance to cover it.
I would think the salvage, the company that destructs it, they can get hold of these salvage people, whatever they want. Might make the bid be tore down a whole lot cheaper too. But anyway, that's our problem. Not yours, so.
Well, we'll be glad to use a corner of your parking lot if we need to, so.
But we could,
Yeah, you can get those, wood structures designed however you want it to, with the same layout as what you got, windows, everything. And then as far as heating and air, you just get one of those motel type things and have it installed in the side.
Mhm. Easy peasy.
Done.
Okay, we can do that.
So the idea of that though would be, would it be, I guess it really don't matter, it's picking or splitting hairs, whether it's the same cost of doing that or buying one already done.
Right.
So,
We'll switch our hours like you suggested to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 9:30, starting March 1st. And we'll plan to do March in that fashion, and we'll go from there.
See what happens after that.
Yeah, we'll communicate with our partners, and then I think one thing that we will also do is, do some, social media posts about at-home testing and how to obtain at-home tests, and, see what role we can play in that as far as,
education.
yeah, education. And, I know the hospital, they got at-home tests to hand out. I know some health departments did that, but we did not. So if that's still an option, maybe we could look at that as well. So we'll see what our role is there. But right now, we're in a grant crunch time, so we have to have those completed and done to you by the 7th, so that they're off to the state in time. So, our focus has to be on that right now. So we'll see what we can get done between now and then.
What to do.
Yeah.
$100,000 building, Jennifer.
Pardon me?
$100,000 building.
We don't have that much money, Bob.
Only 95.
Well, 95 plus 66.
Yeah. And there's not 8, 9 or something.
Settle for a $90,000 bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time we get it and everything, we get the place
Well,
to
at
put
that
it and
point,
all
let's
this,
just
it's,
build a new health department if we're gonna be, that has a drive-through.
There you go.
Or let's buy the Auburn Pharmacy when it's done and move it there.
Yep.
Parking for everybody.
okay.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Have a good week. Morning, Mr. Wade.
Morning.
You got any good stuff for us today?
Well, I wasn't here Tuesday because I was in Zoom court, and then today is normally a court day, but there's a judicial conference, so there's no court.
No, sir.
That's why I'm here. One thing that probably needs to be put back on the radar is the Neosho City Cemetery. And if you remember, that's over in your area, Don, if I remember right.
That's the one Randy Rogers was
Randy Rogers.
investigating,
Oh,
right?
yeah, okay.
He was working on that. The owner of that property, I think, contacted the clerk's office and then provided me the number. I talked to the landowner, Ben Spencer, and he's wanting to know where that project is on the county's radar, because there are headstones there that date back into, I think, the 1800s. There may have been 5 headstones, if I remember right. And I don't know if they have moved, and if there's even bodies underneath the headstones. I don't remember that part right now, because I thought it was being handled.
This is one on the brakes property.
But he is
Spencer.
waiting for the county to do something so that he can use that land, because I think he farms it. But he doesn't want to disturb the headstones. And they're near a tree. I've not been out there. I know Randy Rogers and Mike Roney went out there and went on their 4-wheelers and viewed the property, and they were trying to work on something. Randy had done some background work with the state, historical society, I believe. But since that time, COVID's hit and Randy's no longer here, so I think we need to get it back on the radar and try to help.
I was kind of under the impression that Randy was going to kind of pursue it even after he left the sheriff.
I was too.
That's what I thought.
I kind of forgot about that project, but I think Randy was gonna pursue it.
That's what he said.
Where's this actually at?
I don't have the paperwork. I know Randy had a binder.
It, off of 75 highway there on 58, it's a mile east. And it's about half, 3/4 of a mile north, and it's back east into the field, a quarter of a mile east.
Oh, well,
It's in the middle of the section.
that's in my district then, isn't it?
That is your district.
Sure. I was thinking it would be over in Tim's district.
No.
I was thinking over to
This
Brinks,
is yours,
the
Paul.
Brinks
This is yours.
Cemetery deal.
So
I kind of forgot about the project that we did have, but I think you're right. I think Randy was gonna pursue it,
That's what I thought.
and,
Well, I mean,
But-
that was 2.5 years ago, and
Yeah.
COVID hit, and I think COVID put a screeching halt to dealing with a lot of different things. And Mr. Spencer said, you know, he's just wanting something to be figured out so he can deal with his land. He doesn't want to disturb the headstones. But there were articles from the 1800s, and maybe Brad is the one who found them. I don't
I know
remember,
Randy
but-
had them. Randy
there
had the
were-
articles.
There were four or five names that were listed that were buried in that Neosho City Cemetery. So
So what do we do? Declare it a cemetery, put a fence around it, call it good? I don't know.
It's on private property is the issue, I think, correct?
and I think it's not an official cemetery. It's sort of one of those.
Family cemetery.
Well, at one point in time, it was a cemetery, and then it never made it to being designated as an official cemetery. So I think we just have to figure out what the options are, and
Where in the world do we start with that?
New one on me.
If I remember correctly, I think one of the options that Mr. Rogers was trying to accomplish was to move to, I think it was a permit through the State Historical Society or something like that, to excavate that and transport everything up to Splichter Cemetery. I believe that's pronunciation. Splichter.
yeah, the Slichter Cemetery's
Yeah,
in east on the hill. to-
Yeah, correct. And that was the original intent, the way I remembered it, that.
His
Whatever
original intent
was-
was to move it to the Slichter.
Mhm.
The Slichter Cemeteries, there are spaces there, but whether it be enough space or not, I don't know. There's several barrels there in a year's time.
Oh, yeah.
well, I think one of the issues was, do we even know if there's anything under the headstones that can be identified? I think that's one thing. And when I spoke with Mr. Spencer, I think they did, what is it, the LiDAR or something like that, and they did not find anything underneath. It's just the headstones. Now, I could be wrong, but
Well, if there weren't boxes to place anything in, I'm sure it's decomposed and
sure. So those are things we have to figure out. But I think Mr. Spencer being patient, but I think it creates an issue for him being able to use his land. And he's just waiting for the county to take action.
You know, I'm sorry. You know, when John Redmond's built, they moved the cemetery out, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, I'm not sure. But I'm sure there's probably a specific procedure that has to be followed, which may be able to happen in a month, may take 6 months, may take a year. I have no idea, but.
I think we just, for today, is
We gotta
planting a
bring-
seed so we can get it back on the radar. I think someone from the county, maybe a commissioner, maybe myself, maybe, the current sheriff need to go out and at least look at the area and see what we're looking at, because I've not been out there. I don't know if any of you have been out there, and I'm sure Mr. Spencer would be, would open up his, land so you could go out and see what you're looking at to deal with. I think he can point to and identify the headstones immediately, because he deals with them on a regular basis.
Yeah, Ben would be good to work with. I haven't been out there since the Parmleys, Bill and Gene Parmley lived for years, and I was at the cemetery, or been to it, but But I don't have any idea how many headstones is in there, but Ben would be glad to give us access to it.
If I remember correctly, it was in trees.
It's in trees,
Yeah.
a lot of trees.
So I mean,
Trees
it's not like he's farming it.
No,
Yeah,
but he's
I-
wanting to, if the cemetery's moved, I guarantee you the trees will come out and they'll farm the location.
So,
I'm sure of that.
so if we maybe can start by creating a dialogue, identify one of the commissioners to go out, maybe be the one to view it at some point, and then we start there.
If he was thinking of moving over to Schlechter, we can get a hold of that one too. Both of those are actually in my district, so.
Well, I think we have to identify what we're looking at. I think there's 4 or 5 headstones is what I recall. And once it's identified, then figure out procedurally what needs to happen. And then we can reach out to Randy and see if he has the notebook or the materials, if he wants to be a part of it, since he has some knowledge. I think that would be helpful as well.
Randy just lives a mile south of there now, or miles south, a little bit east, so. And I'm not sure how far he just made his discovery 2 years ago.
Sure.
He may be further along into it than what we're aware of too, so.
Well, that's why we don't wanna reinvent the wheel if he's already taken some steps, but we've been contacted, so I think we need to sort of jump back on.
I'd say it's in Bob's district, and you brought it back up, so looks like it's waiting Bob.
We handle that.
I'll move.
Well, I wonder if Randy's still kind of pursuing it and COVID just didn't deter him too, so.
Sure.
He
Well,
seemed
that-
pretty passionate about it.
Yeah,
so.
he did.
For some reason, I don't think it was 2 years ago. See, I've been sitting here for a year now.
So I've been
I
here a
think
year.
I think it was happening right after I took a seat,
I remember a lot of,
cause he had some
he
audit.
came in here twice
Yeah,
when we was down in the basement.
yeah.
I think it started the initial conversation, and then it started gaining traction and doing some, research behind the scenes.
I would just gotta get with him, look at
We
it,
can do it and work with him.
get with him.
He's in my district too, so.
There you go, Bob.
We'll handle it. Wade and I and whoever else will handle it. See what we can come up with.
Have any other fun news?
No, kind of status quo right now. Unless you have something for me.
How's the jail population?
Full,
Full?
overflowing, working to get people out. And I think that's one of the misconceptions on the outside, is that law enforcement is doing everything they can to fill the jail to justify the need or necessity for a new jail.
I think those are horrible theories.
That they are, and, you know, we work hard to get people out. So last week we had, for example, the courthouse was closed, we didn't have court, we had a number of cases that, were on the docket, and because court was closed, we didn't have court. Well, two or three of the people that were in custody were scheduled to be released once we had court. Well, that didn't happen, so we had impromptu court yesterday on 2 of those cases because the attorney happened to be here for another matter, and we were able to get those people out. I mean, we do everything we can to get people out of jail. Now, in my opinion, some of the people who are in jail need to be in jail. Or they have a bond they can make with conditions that go with that. And everybody who's in custody has a bond, so they're just not held without bond, without the ability to bond out. Now, you'll see some bonds are higher, and higher bonds are usually, well, they are set by the judge, and they're set by the judge at a high level based on risk to community safety, risk for flight, and a number of other reasons, a history of failure to appears or something like that. So I think, you know, I don't think it's gonna change at any point in time, in the near future. In fact, I think right now, we're in the cold part of the year, and usually in the cold part of the year, the number of people committing offenses is at a lower level because they're inside. You warm it up, you have people who don't have, air conditioning or whatever it is, for whatever reason, the heat increases crime historically in the last almost 20 years I've been doing this. The levels just go up, so.
I don't think it's just us, but I saw on the news where, I think it was Shawnee County, I remember, they had an extremely large number of jail residents that they were farming out themselves, and I think it's gonna get to the point, there's not gonna be places to farm them out, really. I mean, you know, like for us, for example, we start farming them out, we may be hauling them clear, who knows to where.
It's a big expense to the county.
Right.
We've taken them, you know, as far as, Wabunsee County, you know, finding available slots is gonna be problematic because it's not just something that Coffee County is gonna be experiencing.
That's what I meant, yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
Speaking of the jail, did you get an email from Sydney Goldberg on?
The ad hoc committee.
Yes, I didn't get a chance to print that off this morning before I come.
So, and I would be encouraging each of you to find people to be on that committee from the four corners of the county. I've had a number of people approach me who were interested in being on that committee, and I've relayed those names to different, commissioners. I think getting that up and running is extremely important, and that's the PR campaign where people will get their information, tell their neighbors, and, you know, $24.9 million is a lot of money to stomach, but what are the alternatives, and what happens if you don't do it, and what are the costs later on down the road?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's an important thing that needs to be addressed, especially if it's gonna be on the August ballot, and then figure out at some point, and this will be Goldberg working with you on doing this, is creating what the question is gonna be. But I think, at least in the interim time period, and I think Goldberg will help with this, the last question that isn't fully answered out of the 5 questions that we started with is how is it gonna be paid? Now, reserves, I think are, there's no question there, but if it's gonna be a bond issue, there's several different ways that could go. And one type of bond issue will impact the taxpayer, another one won't. So you just have to figure out which way. And if the push is to not increase taxes, then you have to make sure that those questions can be answered, at least initially to the ad hoc committee, and then to the taxpayers. So, just planting some seeds there.
Well, I didn't see the email, but what do you want us to, you want us to give the names to?
I think right now, just collect the names, pass them on to Andrea, probably, so we have a pool of names. Probably need their name and a phone number and an email address so that they can be communicated when the committee sort of goes live. And my guess would be everybody who gets put on the committee at different times, not everybody will be able to show up because of different various commitments, so that's why you need to have a good number of people who are willing to be a part of that.
So are we gonna do this kinda like we did the, ARPA money, as one each commissioner, and then hopefully each city, or we kind of appoint someone?
Yeah, it's really, the ball's in your court. I would recommend getting somebody involved in each of the local governments. I think having citizen representation, business owner representation, I mean, all across the board, because it affects and impacts everybody. and at the government level to see what their thoughts and ideas are, because if they have, you know, Burlington, Waverly, and Lebo all have their own law enforcement components that bring, that have court here, and the new jail will impact them on that level. And then the other outlying communities, how it impacts them as well. And you know, the tax base, what it's gonna look like, what it's gonna mean to them. Why do you need 60 beds with the ability to change it later on down the road? I mean, those are the things to pass on to the community, that the new facility would have 4 mental health holding cells, which is extremely important, and in my opinion, bare minimum, not even close to enough, but somewhere down the road, that issue will probably surface again and have to be addressed. But 4 is better than what we have right now, because the undersheriff's office and the sheriff's office are typically those holding areas, or at the hospital, and our jail staff are not equipped to deal with some of the mental health needs of the people who end up in the Coffee County jail. And that's not unique to Coffee County, that's all across the country, all across Kansas. You hear it all the time. So.
I think everybody, I would guess everybody got that email, I don't know.
I didn't.
You didn't get it?
I think it just came to you and I don't know why I haven't had a chance to research that.
If I had it on my phone, I don't have it on my phone, it comes to my office, so I print it off and give that to each commissioner.
I can
That way
go
they can
pull
look
it
at
up,
the
and
criteria.
I didn't have a chance to look at it in detail. I saw it came in, but I did see that it just came to you and I don't know why.
As far as financing, I remember it being 10 million out of reserves, and the rest was refinanced through
Bond. That's what I remember.
So just to be able to strategically lay out what that looks like, what the bond structure would be, for how long, where that's gonna fall into place. I think that's I mean, if you were asked right now by a member of if we had a special meeting, the reserve and bonds, well, then somebody wants to go dive a little deeper into the bond structure, what does that look like? And I don't think right now being able to fully answer that is on the table, but
No, it was laid out for us, we had paper on it, I'll be
We had a complete detailed structure.
Somebody will say, why are you gonna bond and pay $3 or $4 million in interest when you got the money sitting in the account? The other's gonna say, well, we don't want you to spend all of the reserves on it. So, I mean, it's a lose-lose situation. So we've just gotta, we just split it.
But, so you have a united front, and
Yeah, I mean-
here's the best way strategically that the governing body has decided that it should go, and, you know.
And I don't know if the feds are going to hold the interest spike now that Russia's at war with Ukraine. Maybe that might hold the interest rates where they're at. Because I think it'll just put us in a tailspin if they start raising the interest rate every quarter or more. So there's your bond. Your bond interest rates are gonna start going up if it doesn't, so.
We're looking at all kinds of rates going up.
Yeah.
First one we're probably gonna see.
Mine says mental health right here.
The gas pump, what are prices gonna do? Just,
It's gonna be there.
Comforting words from our leader this weekend was be prepared to pay more.
Oh, yeah, he's preparing us, yeah. He's prepared. Instead of
Very
fixing,
comforting.
let's fix it, you schmuck.
Colby,
I didn't
Kansas,
say that.
yesterday was $3.50 for unleaded gas.
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
Oil's up $10 overnight, 9 to 10.
It's went over $100 yesterday.
Yeah, 104 and 5, 107.
Before you leave, I need you
We don't
to
need Keystone.
executive session.
This is my oil from Russia.
But no, we did have that bond guy that you had, he gave us a breakdown of everything.
We had-
I know I have that paperwork, so I will find it, so that
I've still got that,
it was
all that
all
documents.
explained out.
Sure.
I remember it.
No, I remember that too, just so that now that that's the route, to be able to point to exactly what's gonna happen and how it's gonna
I
happen.
will find mine.
We're probably gonna have to get in touch with that person again, 'cause it might have changed.
That's true.
I mean, the rates he gave us back then is probably not gonna be the rates that are there now.
That's true. We may need a new format, so to speak.
That's what I'm saying, it's probably changed.
Okay.
And it darn sure will change before August. So did I hear something about an executive session?
That's something time sensitive, that big project we have with the travel center out at, up north part of the county. Cause they're asking something only the commissioners can answer, and I need you to talk about it, and then possibly, if you want to, come back out and take action. But I would request the attorney, the commissioners, go into executive session for 20 minutes to discuss, financial affairs of a corporation.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Tim has moved, Tom seconded, any other discussion? 20 minutes, right, you said?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We will go in at
Read that.
10 o'clock. That'll give us enough time for a
20.
break.
What time did you say you're coming?
Going in at 10 o'clock for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So we got time to take a break
Sorry.
on our way down.
I seconded, he made.
I made the motion, Tom second.
All in favor, said aye.
And it passed.
All passed. Where's the coffee?
It's ready.
I'll be bouncing off the walls. Can't do it.
A cup for the road.
Darla's looking for her keys, or for your keys.
They're going in executive session till 10:20.
Right.
It's prettier, but it's not, well, it might be a little warmer, but it's not better. I will, honey.
Stand outside, and receive your, you need to take action on this. Wait for your thought.
They're selling out of beef.
All right, we're back. Only took us a minute to walk up here. We're getting better.
May not be winded.
Healthy individuals.
All right, I guess do you have any roundtable stuff?
Just that I do have somebody else coming to put a bid in on those trees.
Oh, you do?
Tuesday.
Good.
And, did you say who?
No,
Oh,
it's good.
Okay. And, in this, from Shellers, they do the lawn care. They have a yearly, list of services that they do. It's a little bit of a discount if you pay all at once. You don't have to. And I didn't know if you wanted to hold off on that, since right now the yard's kind of torn. It's all mainly just, crabgrass, weed control, that kind of thing. But, and it had a date of February 20th that she said they don't hold you to if we wanted to do the yearly services that they normally do in one lump.
Is that what we normally been doing?
Yeah,
I don't know why we change it.
okay. And you can see them, that's what they,
They go,
$1,058.30 if we pay it all up front,
correct.
which is gonna save about $100.
Not having near as much to do this year. Pasture garden grass.
are they gonna come back and dress this,
Seed it.
dress this work up, or are they gonna leave it the way it looks?
The basement company, they are gonna come back and.
They are gonna come back and dress it up.
Yeah, and I don't know how much and beyond.
So they still got a lot of water
Yeah.
sitting out there.
It didn't look bad at all when it snowed on it.
Just covered up with newspapers.
I guess FYI, I seen him driving her 7,000-pound skid steer down the sidewalk, and I did stop and ask him if that was normal. He said, well, if that's the only way to get there, yeah. I said, so do you fix what you break? He said, well, sure.
Okay.
So, I suggested to Barb maybe kinda take a look, take some pictures if you have to,
Right, right.
FYI.
Fix one problem causes another.
He usually does.
Yeah. I just say go ahead, it's all good to go ahead with this yearly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it for me.
That's it for you.
That's where it goes up.
Yeah.
So, again, for me, the church needs to apologize for missing Tuesday. I was gonna bring this up Tuesday, but I would like to get somewhat aggressive on that. If we wanna go through locals and let them seek their own people to do some salvage, I still say we ought to try a 4-state area or something. Cause like, when I do my research, and I don't know about Tim, there's some pretty big companies out there that have some large salvage, showrooms, if you will, of things they have for sale. So my opinion on it is, if you contact a person that's in the business of doing restoration or saving things for resale, I'm not opposed to getting somebody local, but it just seems like a very large on-take project to take for some individuals.
Well, I guess my thing on it was not really a big deal. I don't have any problem with going out and getting those people, but I would like to try to work a contract with them is, here, you're the restoration, you come in and you take what you want, then you hire a contractor to do the rest of it. In other words, we have one person.
That may be the
doing
way
it.
they wanna do it.
We have one person doing it instead of, we're doing this part of it, and then they throw crap everywhere, and then we hire somebody else to come in and clean up their crap.
That was my goal for getting an architectural salvage place,
Mm-hmm.
and demo all in one ball wax.
Right, that's what,
And they
yeah.
do exist.
That's what I wanted. And they.
But
it's
then
a
you
good chance.
mentioned keeping it local, but those people,
Well,
those people don't do that.
By local, I meant they might, after they get everything out, wanna hire a local to
Okay.
To do
do it.
Now, the ones that I've contacted, I doubt if they'd go to that extent. I think they're kinda after,
Come in,
Would,
buy and grab and leave.
yeah,
Well, maybe we could work it to where the demo person has to be there if the salvage person is done August first, the demo person has to be there August second.
yeah.
That way you can't, that way you don't have liability sitting out.
You're gonna have to have it fenced off as it is anyway.
Yeah.
So are we responsible for all damages when, if a restoration company comes in and starts?
I would say
blowing
they
windows
should
out?
be insured.
That's what I'll, curious would be, that would be the thing, we need to work
Most
that out.
of your larger companies are bonded and insured where, if the bid comes in at $100,000 and they fail to produce, you can draw on that bond and get your.
No, my concern more is if they're doing it, and a bunch of teenage kids, which I wouldn't say they'd never do it, but they jump the fence and somebody gets hurt, who's liable? County or this company?
I would say it'd probably come in over on the county, but if they jump the fence, I mean,
Well, if the fence is left open, and they just walk through the gate.
That would be the contractor. Usually if it's a on-site project, the contractor will.
We would have Wade write the contract up, so he sure would cover all that stuff. I don't really care how we do it, but we need to be moving on with it.
Yep, I agree.
If we got it, we need to move on.
If you turn it directly over to, and take bids by construction companies, how much effort they gotta put in salvage and some values that's there? That's the reason, I got an issue going one demolition company, you'll probably not receive any values for potentials there. They're gonna demo that as quick as they
Well,
can.
the other question is maybe a Wayne question, Blackburn question, as to how soon can you get a permit to dump this stuff on the river down by Roar? Because like I say that, you don't want all that sitting there in a landfill.
I bet that'd take you a year to get that.
Probably.
I bet you the water resource, I need to be in touch with them anyway on the Matthias Lake, trying to get it drained out the southeast corner. And I haven't touched base with the Water Resource Board now for 2 years since COVID came in. I need to give them a holler, but,
You can get the answer to that question.
I could probably get a quick answer to that.
Why don't we just have Wayne do it and go through the correct
And that'd be,
procedure to
no
do it?
problem with Wayne doing it either.
Just have Wayne to get.
Cause Wayne knows that Matthias still needs to be.
He's here till August, he can
Yeah.
be doing something.
Yeah.
Wayne probably be the best person.
So you got several people.
I have 2, maybe 3 that would really,
If you would, email me those and then I'll see if they match up with what I got. I don't have my list with me either.
can you read my writing?
No. No? No, now I can.
looky there, there's letters there.
You want me to touch base with Wayne to get him involved now, or you wanna ask Wayne to come, or talk to him Monday?
I just, if you're gonna contact him with the Matthias Lake,
And we've already touched base on that.
yeah, I just say, see what he
Okay.
can do on that, dumping this brick and concrete
Yeah, these
down there.
are
See, I don't think the
the
concrete can have any rebar. in it.
Can't have any rebar.
Uh-uh. It's hard to tell what's gonna be in that
Very
concrete.
much
I don't,
interested.
yeah,
in
or
people's
maybe
stuff
concrete wire,
out
maybe,
of Oklahoma
maybe
City.
rebar may need to be
Architectural
nothing.
Steel,
antiques,
yeah, might not be.
Same way.
That's another one
I just do-
I
I do
didn't
it that
call
way.
them, I just saw them on.
I've talked to
From
all
the
3
base
of
of that,
them.
it'd all be clean.
Should.
To me, that's almost, I mean, those are the closest ones.
Yeah.
That's
The one in
almost-
Columbia, I described it as,
and then we can give them the local contractors, they
Yep.
can contact and demo that after it's done. Make it all one contract would be
Right,
nice.
that's the way I would prefer it,
That would be.
that'd be good.
That's a good,
if it would work.
good way to do it.
The one by Columbia, Missouri was very interested too. Oklahoma, Minneapolis, Minnesota, maybe I did.
That's the other one I found was Columbia, Missouri.
Okay, that one's very interested too. I talked to both of
Yeah,
them.
that road down
Let me look. This is why I need a
So,
secretary.
can we go ahead and have them go ahead and take what they want out of that?
I would think we could.
I mean, they're part of us, I think all they might probably want is a window and just a little bit of inside
I
stuff.
thought that's where we left it the other day.
And she said just maybe one of those chairs and whichever window was.
I think there's only one chair left in it.
Yeah, same with them. So, yeah, and she said whatever window somebody
There's
could get,
not-
'cause most of them are actually like built into the concrete.
Well, that would be the deal if we contact one of these people, this window
Yeah.
goes to the museum.
I would actually think the museum, I was looking at those, one of those two little windows on the front would be the perfect one for the museum.
This is the one that's Square Nails.
I don't know if they would have this.
In
And
Columbia,
then,
Missouri.
and Tom is right, maybe that with whoever
There you
gets
go.
it, this is what we would
Don't
tell
think
them.
so.
Because they really not gonna have any way to get up there and get that window.
And
So, and that could be something that we,
And you've
in the
contacted.
contract,
in
there's
agreement,
one piece
There's
of
definitely
In
one
agreement
on
with,
it,
you know.
well, I described it to them,
Those
we
are
was gonna. let
rounded on
people
the top.
see
Yeah,
it.
It's a lot more than just a little on it, they're not square,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So there you go, and they wanna be one city.
So a suggestion only, again, Tim's got 3, and he spoke to them, they're all highly interested. I mean, we kind of wanna have Andrea contact these 3 and say, okay, we'll take bids, and you can get up, here's the name of the local contractors that could help you demo it, or what do you wanna do?
I don't have a problem with contacting those people, but I really think we ought to advertise it.
Yeah.
publicly.
Well, I'm not saying we're not gonna advertise it, I'm just saying we can contact these, and then we can publish it as well.
When we publish it, they just wanna know about it, and so they
Right,
can bid
okay,
on
yeah.
it.
Yeah, but
Okay.
They
so
was that interested.
So the procedure is then, we need a motion to advertise for bid of salvage and demolition of the Christian church.
Christian church. Mhm.
They're gonna wanna know where they can dispose of that material before they ever bid on it. You know,
That's
you
true.
won't get a
That's
bid.
true.
And
So they got a place to go with it.
They're gonna have, yeah.
So we wanna put this off another week, let you talk to Wayne.
Well, I can talk to Wayne, I can talk to him, you know, this afternoon or whenever,
That'd be better.
but you're not gonna get bids until you have a location to dump.
No,
I know Bill Fry's got, I don't know if he's got that much room though. I know he's got a permit on his river.
Yeah.
we'll just call Wayne in today and we can talk to him and tell him what our plans are. And see if he can get to work on it.
That might be the best thing to do, just bring him
See if
up.
you want him in right now.
alright,
See if he's.
I'll hang on to those for now.
I don't wanna lose, we drink it safe, and I like it that the commission does this, and got one running around, that's my opinion.
Good.
We're gonna do it, let's find out what he can say.
I don't know.
He probably won't.
Hey, Wayne?
Anyway.
Are you around Burlington?
Oh, that's right.
You're at home? Oh, okay, okay. Well, we was gonna see if you'd be able to come in here for a little bit and visit on some, construction rubble, so. But we can do it Monday, I guess, so ain't no big deal. Yep, we'll just visit about it Monday. Off the old church, how quick a person could get a permit to maybe dump that over there on that
I
river?
agree to that, but we still gotta move, so maybe.
This concrete, good concrete and, or the brick and everything,
Somewhere at the landfill.
about how long it'd take to get,
We can store it at least.
okay.
You might be surprised how many, restoration business will come in. Check those
Okay.
things, So, yeah. They'll sell it.
Okay.
That's possible
But I
too.
could get some information and then be able to pass it on to you. Call you personally, I could do that if you'd like.
Okay, or if you got some information, you could just put it towards Andrea, and she can give it to us for Monday, that would work as well, or Angie, whichever.
Okay,
So-
and then just give her a call and a heads up sort of thing.
Right.
What the information's about.
Right, yeah, if we take this old church down, if we could possibly dump it, along that, where that river's eating away at the road and everything. So, or if it would even be enough to
Right.
justify
You said
it.
there's arm ring along the embankment.
Right.
I know one, there's gonna be a permit on it, but let me get the information and get all that, and, make that happen.
Okay, that'll work.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Whether I think that he's staying home.
I bet you we'll get a permit for a long time.
6 months to a year,
If we can store it, we've got the space out in landfill. We can
I think you
store
could store it, at worst case scenario, we could store it in this, during the winter, that they can haul it after the permit's obtained.
Because if it has rebar stuff in it, it's going to landfill anyway.
Right.
Well, you can dump it on the river if you saw them rebars off. They just can't be sticking out.
Can't be sticking out.
Can't be where
That's all.
somebody could trip.
Or a fish can
falling
eat
and getting
something.
pale, or
Yeah.
or a turtle gets
And
stuck.
that old mortar might, that cement might be old enough, it'll just start deteriorating once you get it out of its arrow.
Probably find there ain't that much, there won't be as much rebar there, what you think. It'd have to be square. Wouldn't be round, would it? I don't.
Wouldn't think it'd be right.
Probably square.
All right, well, anybody got any other news?
The only other thing I was gonna, and sorry to eat up a bunch of time today, but, how soon are we gonna advertise for a projects manager, or has anybody,
We
where's
have-
everybody's thoughts on that? We can readdress it Monday, but I would like to see us get moving on that as well.
As far as, Wayne's position? Well, and that's the other thing, you know, HR Partners said they do it as well, but I don't know if a person wants to spend, you know, $40,000 to $20,000 to $60,000 having HR Partners doing the headhunting.
Is that what you meant, the headhunting, or did you just mean to take the position?
To be advertising for that position.
With a position, not really as a headhunter.
Well, right, I mean, HR Partners does that as well.
Right.
So, that was brought up. So,
I
if
know.
we don't want them to do it, then we could advertise.
Were they gonna do a job description?
I think they did they not?
She took a look at the one we had, but she didn't say if she was
Okay.
gonna use that one, she was gonna take a look.
Okay. I'm just
Right.
Well, I'm not,
refreshing my brain on it.
The
so.
months are going by fast.
I'm not interested in what Wayne's job description is now, because I really think we should be changing that whole
Right.
shebang.
Well, and that was I gave her that Miami County, project manager description to work from. So she, you know, she said she got it. She didn't say too much about if that was the description that she would wanna work with for that position, because that's where it kinda left was, well, does anybody want her to be a part of that? So she didn't put too
And I
much.
read that one too, 2 or 3 times actually, just the digest the best I could, and I like it. I like that description, I don't know why you can't.
Pretty close, yeah.
Well, I don't know why you can't just use that and go, but
You could.
it's up to you guys.
We don't gotta
I like
complicate it any more than what.
But yeah, you know,
Right.
Well, and there might be a couple.
Cast a wider net, do we need to be more than a 30-day, is the deal, does it need to be? Chances are the person we're after has probably already got a job, they're just looking for a different one.
And I also sent that description to Wayne Blackburn, and he did say that there are a couple things on that description as a project manager that you have to be an engineer to do, so he might know of a couple things that might not wanna be part of that description. So that was,
Well,
An engineer would be a bonus. I mean, if they are an engineer.
Well, they are, but that's not really, to me, I didn't think that's what we were
Not-
looking at. I
not
thought we
what
were
we're
looking
looking
at
for.
two different categories.
that's why we're gonna just.
An engineer's out here, but
I mean, we sub out a lot of engineering as it is now, and it's nothing against Wayne, but I know we sub out close to
engineer.
300,000 a year.
anytime it's a state, anything to do with the state, we have to hire
We
another,
sub
we
it
have
out,
to
so
hire
I mean,
another
we might as
engineer
well be
anyway.
hiring B&G or whoever
Mhm.
as an on-call basis, and you'll probably cover that salary plus the engineering fees that you're already spending.
Mhm.
Not to mention, I would like to see, we've got a good group of people at Road and Bridge, just turn back into maintenance, and just, you know, any of the larger projects, you're just gonna have to contract
Contract
out.
them out, yeah.
Just gonna have to contract them out.
And I can get with Wayne again if you want, and ask him what specifically he was talking about, but if it's not an engineer, what to take off that.
Strike, yeah.
No, I mean, our bridges are, I mean, give me some bridges here and there, or small box culverts, if you will, but still, I still say you can sub some of that out. I wouldn't even consider that maintenance like I would mowing, chip sealing, crack sealing, culverts, you know.
Digging ditches.
big ditches and-
And even some of that gets pretty expensive.
Correct.
Matthias
Depending on
Lake
the
being
size.
number one.
That one probably maybe should have been contracted out, but that's beyond us, so.
History.
Yeah, there's my 2 cents for the day. Sorry I missed Tuesday. I
We're
always
just
tell
gonna
everybody, I
talk your
said, I can't do anything on Monday, and then when they said, how's February 22nd? I was, okay, that's Tuesday, yeah, that'll work, yeah. So, I messed up, apologize.
You know, we have no idea who the applicants will be, what'll be applied for. You can't never tell, you may have a person or two that apply for it, may have an engineering degree.
Hmm.
Yeah, we have
That's
no
true.
idea, which would be a plus
Plus.
if you stumble into something like that.
We'll just
If
have
they
to
meet if they meet the other qualifications.
cast the net and see what you get.
Okay, you check with Wayne on that. Strike.
But how far in advance do we wanna advertise for them? I mean,
If we talk about it now, it will be about a month before we
so
start.
we're looking,
so-
yeah, cause we're looking at it's still 6 months down the road before.
Well, I agree to that, but
I'm just asking how far.
In my thinking only, suggestion only, maybe this may not be open, I guess what I'm saying, if you find that individual here, you know, if we don't advertise for a month yet, you got a month of advertising, then you can do interviews, so
Yeah,
you're
monthly interview.
you're almost 2 months down the road, so.
But
then
we're
what
gonna
you do-
advertise for a month? I mean, we're gonna put the advertisement out where, not 10 days.
Yeah, probably better be 30 to 60
I mean, 30 days, and I can see then
30
that
to
moves it a lot
45.
closer, and I can see that, at the time we interview.
Yeah, and so, again, the person you're probably after is, already has a job. They're just looking for something closer to home or different. And, you know, and then you could still bring that person in, if Wayne's got a month to 2 or 3 months left, you can just have him basically be on call till August 1st.
Mm-hmm.
To solve any, or help remedy any situations that come along. That's a suggestion again.
Might, you know, depend on the individual you get and how he would want, he or her would want to move into it. They might even wanna work side by side with Wayne for a couple of months too.
I wouldn't recommend that.
But,
Yeah, no, I'd like this individual to be their own person.
Yes.
He established his own boundaries,
Yeah.
his own person, all like that.
and absolutely
You
agree with
start
that,
new.
Exactly.
but that individual might possibly wanna work side by side for a couple of weeks.
I
So
still,
that would be our choice.
Yeah.
Correct. That would be our choice.
I think we gotta be a little bit flexible on, but August or September will be here before we know it.
exactly,
Yeah.
There's a lot of
So
stuff
we're
going
March
on.
first, we're March first now.
yeah, so.
August will be here next week, Bob.
Yes, it will. It will.
At this rate,
I think putting a request out there for 30 days is probably long enough. You can,
Even if
in
you
my
start-
opinion, you can get it out there if it's too long.
Even if you started advertising next week, you're not employing somebody until June 1st, that's 2 months from August 1st,
yeah.
Mhm.
so
Right.
just put it out there.
Oh, I know.
We need,
There's a lot of things we've gotta make decisions on here right real quick and in a hurry.
Well, we have the time, it's just
Yeah.
taking the time, and that's where I go back to again. Maybe a study session on a Monday afternoon wouldn't be a bad idea on a few of these subjects.
Hot
Yeah.
topics.
Okay? Or that, my pen's cold.
Your pen's cold. Right. I don't have anything new, I don't think, so we'll get started.
Well, somebody else had something.
Yeah. Got anything, Brad?
These are just for you, if you want to do these.
Yes. Let me get this started.
The only thing I would have is if you have, we're gonna be electing clerks for all the townships this year. You have people in your area that you're aware of that interested in serving your township in that way, we can see what your list is like, or I can give you the list.
Okay.
I think we have a couple of them, maybe one in Bob's that doesn't have any. May not have any officers at all.
Do I need to sign all these, you said?
And then I have another one down there that they still paying their township people, aren't they? The one that's down southwest, not Liberty, but.
I just do the electing of the paying, that's Casey's territory. Okay, so we need to have her sign this.
She might have been the one that had, that I think Strata said that Kansas is coming from that sheet, so if I can give it to you, I think you have any questions on it.
Okay, does that need to happen this morning?
Have you ever-
Jessica will know what it is.
Yeah, I can, I can.
Oh, I'll go to the school.
Have an insurrection at the, worried about January 6th. There's a holiday on January 6th called this. Have you ever looked at the definition of that?
That's when all the Republicans became communists, wasn't it?
sixth, and that's the day of this celebration. Makes you wonder if that wasn't planned.
Yep.
As to why it was January sixth.
I can pull these checks out, right?
Those are remote.
I was looking at that on my calendar in January. There's a holiday called, there's a holiday on January sixth, I can't even pronounce it. Epiphany, that's the definition of it. I think Pelosi had more to do with that than George. You think?
I'm not sure, have they done a motion to approve this?
The Democrats had more.
They did, okay. So we just need to have the commission sign off.
Makes you wonder, don't it?
Well,
It does.
so I'll see if Jessica did last week, like I said, Angie sent it, she would take care of it, so I'm not sure if you all, did you tell me to go through, you did not for that,
I think-
you wouldn't, emotionally?
No, I don't believe I did sign
I think
anything.
Jessica says she needs to have the commission's approval on that, because they did it by motion, it's not that they submit a bill to us, so.
Okay, because last week when Angie said just give it to her, but she didn't have you from that.
I don't recall signing anything for the after prom site.
And
I mean, there's several
it's coming out
Yeah,
of,
there is.
like, Wade and
Everybody should
law
look at
enforcement
those,
funds.
what,
So they probably.
why January sixth, and then when I saw that.
Wait till I'm back over
I
and-
looked at
He was
He
in
had-
the office.
Let me go ask him.
Okay. Is Angie coming back at all today, or is she?
She'll
I
be
can't
back.
pronounce that.
She'll be back.
When's that, I'll take- hold on to that.
We don't have checks here already.
EP.
No, we just have to check.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I wanna say the F, empathy. Free Tuesday. I forgot.
Is Russia really at war?
Yes,
They declared it?
yes. They declared it.
Strange that our government's more interested in that than our own country.
They don't care about our country.
I mean, he's taking care of it, get ready to pay more at the pump.
Yeah, get
What
more
it says.
to the point, yeah. It'll be okay.
Don't worry about it.
And none of those people drive anything.
Well, it doesn't matter, because taxpayers are paying for it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They can fly no private jet.
Our private.
Our private. We pay for it.
Yes, we do.
Remember how many times Pelosi's flown?
Greenhouse don't matter on them.
Remember how many times Pelosi's flown back and forth to California at our expense?
Yep.
Realize how rich she has gotten since she's been Speaker of the House.
I heard that on Google, that's how rich.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I heard it.
She was a little concerned that the people in Washington DC could, invest in a stock market, but,
It's free to trade,
yeah,
it's okay.
just a little
But
concern.
I guarantee you if Trump did it, he'd be well voted for it.
Nothing to see here.
So they're gonna put Constantine wire around the Capitol again,
They put up the fence.
what they call it, Fort Pelosi.
Yep.
on Third Street above?
Pardon me?
Was there apartments on Third Street above some of those buildings?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, there were any apartments up there.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's just, the first one around the corner of the.
Bush.
Oh, is that where, the insurance company used to be?
Mhm.
It's up above?
Well, no, it was where that. Gosh darn it.
Jesse, do these usually go in the?
White Wolf had a karate place.
They was in it.
Along there, right up above. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
But no, it's,
Oh, okay, it's the second door,
Yeah.
the first door on, yeah, okay. That's where Bobby is now.
I believe so. Because I got you wrote everyone down.
Okay.
but yeah, I think it's attached with, what's his name, insurance. It's kind of thing, but it kind of ain't.
Yeah, just seen that. Come across one of these, I think I just seen one. Telephone reader.
What about it?
For the new fair, for, oh, this is January, February, okay. This is November, December, okay. I just seen the name and the same now.
You can even go to the political party's website, they'll tell you who you need to invest in the stock market.
Oh, yeah?
See the name? Approved companies you can invest in.
I was talking to a person over the weekend, they said they had 750,000 close to in their stocks for that last crash. Went down to 14. I've never have invested in stocks, I just can't, I don't trust them.
Well, we do with the 401k, but
I wonder what's involved in all this, Jesse. This invoice with economic development.
Civics Plus.
The three-year deal. I don't know what this for.
Gotta be website.
Looks like it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Something to do.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's the website. Yeah, the domain, one domain annually renews.
It's stuff that I'm not familiar with at all.
Pretty expensive, then.
Pretty expensive, of course, I'm not sure. I have no idea what value we're getting out of it either.
Well, right at the moment, because we can't really do much.
well, less.
Yeah.
Is that the one that they took away? See, economic development, they was doing some website changing, wasn't they, Tom? Here a while back, the economic development, they was doing, go to a new
Well, it's the
provider,
county as a whole,
the county as a whole.
I believe so.
Well, we have an invoice here, that's through the economic development, a 3-year lease on, for $16,000. Not real sure what's all involved in it.
And we can bring Bobby up, but he was part of that, but it was the county's website as a whole, and economic development, I believe, is usually in charge of that.
In charge of that.
If my memory serves me correct.
See, there's 8 or 9 different breakdowns here what it all is, because, you know, what it's stating, you know,
I'm not opposed to snow removal, but if the extension hired snow removal, shouldn't it come out of their budget?
I would think it
Not,
should.
not the county's budget.
I'm all for it.
I mean, they billed us for it. I'm sure Darrell approved it. So, we've got a bill here for it, what do we do? Are we gonna sign it, pay it, or are we gonna tell them it comes out of their budget?
I don't know why it wouldn't come out of their
We give
budget.
them a bunch of money for their budget.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't come out of their budget.
with it being 85, you know,
Well,
we
there's
could,
two-
we could
there's-
take care of it this time,
There's
then,
two deals,
yeah,
hundred
we
and
both,
seventy.
you know, we could maybe take care of this one, and,
Either way, we're gonna pay for it.
yeah,
Either way.
either way, we're gonna do it.
Yeah. But I guess my point behind it is that we've moved them, we got a building for them, and we moved them everything else. Now, everything they do, are they gonna bill us for it instead of taking it out of the budget?
Well, we're either gonna pay for it then, or we're gonna pay for it in their new budget next year.
I would rather that it comes out of their budget,
Yeah.
at least, then they have to justify for what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I agree. How close is the Family Dollar dumping or not? Anybody know?
I haven't stopped her, I don't have any idea where we're at.
Looks like the interior lights are on.
If they're like everybody else, they're trying to find parts still.
That's a big issue.
You're gonna be able to find the stuff to fill their shelves. Be the next question.
Sitting on a freighter ship out in the coast.
But don't worry, you're prepared to pay more to some.
Yeah.
I just gotta remind you of that.
I appreciate it.
We could be working on the Keystone Pipeline.
Yep.
No, just pay more to pump, it'll be all right.
Support the, Russians, selling in Germany.
China's in the process of building 47 new coal-fired power plants.
Really? Well, wonder how they're gonna get them to not pollute
Go green.
our ozone.
I don't know how they're
Why
gonna
do we
do it.
gotta follow, why do we always gotta follow clean air out?
What did you see, the postal service needs out there, how many vehicles, and they ordered, they're making sure they're all gas, they don't want any electric.
Yeah.
You just go, did you see that? 'Cause I saw.
I know the postal service, they was gonna try to get them all electric.
No, now this morning it was.
Two different stories, guys.
I know it, but this morning they were all gas, and it goes against what the government wanted them to do, was go all electric. But
You can't get electrical vehicles.
They're not
They're
good.
only 2% of the cars out on the road right now. How are you gonna fulfill?
Oh, the Lebo post office, they wanted, the postal service was buying vehicles for the routes.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper to buy them than it is to pay.
To pay the router.
Pay the drive
But
mileage and stuff.
they brought in these little van-looking things that had, you could go down to the donut store and get better tires down there.
Don't it?
That'll go good on
And
the
they
gravel.
get stuck in the
Mhm.
snow, they get stuck in the mud, always having flat tires. And they only wanted one, and Postal Service says, no, you have to have two of them. We
They have
ordered
two-
you
they have
two of
two
them.
routes, two
Yep.
road routes.
Yep.
Gonna get worse, guys.
It'll be all right, just prepare to pay more.
Keystone Pipeline.
Oh, boy.
They sell tires at the donut shop?
Well, you can get better tires at the donut shop than what's on it.
That's a good one.
$1,470 for days.
Even the natural gas that is coming from Russia
Howard, Kansas, not.
is dirty.
Howard's a few miles from
They
here.
said it's twice the contaminants in that natural gas
Oh,
than
yeah.
what we've got.
Dirty gas. They're just giving us a scrap and charging us an arm and a leg for it. And our government's stupid enough to do it.
I'm really glad to see the Canadian truckers and the American truckers do this, because I think it's time that people start standing up and saying, whoa,
Yep.
we've had enough of this crap, people. And as long as they keep it peaceful.
Well, and I think the Canadian truckers kept it peaceful.
They kept it peaceful,
Yeah.
even Canadian police running their horses into the truckers.
Even after the communist government started fining everybody.
Yeah. And hacking their bank accounts.
They want to know what socialism is like. People need to wake up. There's a
Listen,
good
listen,
example.
listen to the leader of Canada.
Yeah.
Woo.
And then the new police chief in Ottawa came out and said that it was gonna go after anybody that had helped with that trucker in any way, form, even shut off their insurance.
Okay, it's okay to just go burn somebody's business to the ground.
Yes, all summer long.
Well, in a communist country, yeah, that's it. That's how communism works.
Oh, okay. Just be prepared to work.
We're getting ready for it.
It's rolling smoothly.
What kind of
Rolling like
danger
a
does the
hurricane.
sheriff's department have before you go?
Andrew, go back downstairs.
Yes.
No, there's 25 there they bought or whatever.
She left that in here.
I gave you some reading.
Oh, some reading, registry.
No,
Oh, that. Yeah, I glanced through that.
you need to look at that. Real good. One of those three initials.
Are you expecting any more, anything formal going on here, or just sorting through?
I think we've already had.
I think we've,
Yeah, round table's done. Did you find anything out on that piece of paper that you went to
A
wait?
lot more stuff.
Yeah, he approved his part, I
lot
took
more
it
stuff.
to
There's a lot of stuff.
Tom, and he and his Angie are not there
Oh,
at the
okay.
moment, so I left it over there.
So did I need to sign
They
that?
got three.
No,
Okay,
not,
okay.
no, they both needed to approve that it's coming out. You've already did your motion, so
Okay.
you've already approved it by formal action.
Okay.
And she just noted on the last one that it had been approved by the commission, and then both of those officials signed off
Okay.
on the funds. So that'll take care of that, I think, and they'll get it back to us when they get it signed. Well, I'm gonna slip back next door if that's all right, then, and need anything out of the office, let us know, please. I'll take one of these with me for my lunch break.
$72. Costs the taxpayer a lot of money to keep prisoners, doesn't it?
Yep, yes, it does. Well, Muncie County Sheriff's $2,000.
I was just looking at Hoover's.
Hoover's, yeah.
And all the
See
stuff.
'em, yeah.
$200, $300, $400 deals every time. Just for,
Bread and milk.
you wish.
Maybe a few Franken beans.
Jeez.
Surely our electric utilities aren't gonna go up now.
Pretty good in jail.
When does that file there start, Yvonne?
Hmm.
Where's that file that you're on start?
This is the end of it here.
That's the end of it right there.
That's the end of this file?
That's the end of that file.
Alright.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll keep them
we'll
separate.
keep it.
I'm just looking, getting my signatures out of the way here.
I was just, I wanna get in trouble.
Each regional circle, $11,550. Try to say Baumgard. That dang Baumgard, they've got a store in McPherson, or in Hillsborough. They've got a store in Lyons. And I think they've got a store in Great Bend. They've just really blown up.
Yep.
Did they start in Iowa? Or somewhere?
Actually, I think they started in Wyoming, did they not?
Wyoming?
Utah?
I wanna say Iowa.
I know there is one in Wyoming.
Well, their main office is Iowa. I mean, I've got a check here for Iowa.
From the outside looking in, it looks like they're doing a fair business. You know, quite a few employees there too, so.
Sioux City, Iowa.
It's great having them in the county.
I see a lot of local farmers use it, a lot of locals use it all the time.
Seen quite a few Woodson County tags sitting there too. If you don't go there, we'll come up here instead of going to Iowa now. But
My chickens appreciate them.
That's the first time I've ever seen a chicken clucker. inside that
Yep.
store, and then I
And
seen
I
one
mean-
online for sale, it was homemade,
Yep,
it was for
You
sale.
never seen one?
Never seen one. My
Oh.
grandma always did it by hand,
Yeah.
mine did too, but then we
The
had.
old ones are a little bit different than the new ones.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think most of the people wish you did them by hand.
I didn't know there was any other way to do it.
Businesses, I think businesses had the pluckers.
Dip them in boiling water and then start plucking.
Yep,
We
I've done it.
pluck from 250 to 300 of them every year when we was home.
But that's after you cut their head off and then chased them down.
Yeah.
Yep. Best fried chicken you'll ever have.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, some of them just flop all the ways away from you.
Yep.
Or right at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Painting you.
Daring you.
They don't know where they're going, they can't see.
That's right. Can't blame them, I guess.
Do it today, you probably get turned into the Humane
I
Society.
guarantee. People lose their
You never
mind.
get into it. I wonder how many people, like in the big cities, don't really realize it. You don't just go to the store and get stuff, is it?
No, you just go to the grocery
Just go to
store,
the store,
buy your
they don't
food.
realize
They
it.
get it.
They don't think it goes
I
any
think
farther.
we're too many generations away from the farm.
Too many generations in front of a TV and a game box.
Yep.
Here's two ladies we had to Muncie County Sheriff, 25 days, $40 a day.
Still the same, right?
Yes.
And most of them are big.
I bet Richmond Body appreciates us. We're giving them a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
My 2022 butcher dates are full. I'm going. I'm asking for 2023.
Here's what you ought to do, Tim. You ought to just go into the butcher business. You say, here's this month.
Yeah, you would. Well, that's what we needed here in Coffee County.
Then you'd have to find a butcher.
Yep.
here to pay wages for the hauling prisoners.
Yep, $100.
From Leavenworth, wow, clear up there. Callaway County, Missouri. But that's just his wages, that doesn't include the vehicles or anything else.
Nope.
Brad, he said, Wade signed it and, sheriff, and for the sheriff. signed it, so. Tom, you normally put the checks in the bottom of the box after they're signed?
I used to just leave mine on the table when they pick them up.
Okay.
You must sign all your own checks.
Hmm?
Do you sign all your own checks?
No. I have one other gal that does it.
You're fairly fast at it, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't sign your own checks?
I check everything.
I'll look at the bills. Yeah,
I check all the bills, but I don't.
Yeah, there was one day I was reviewing shop bills and I made 3 phone calls and saved $18,000 in about 45 minutes.
There you go. Yeah.
Gotta watch it.
Well, we do a lot of tax exempt jobs and then you get an invoice and it's got tax on it.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that happens a lot.
It took me a while to, Randy's real good at it now, watching for it, but.
Yeah.
I wonder if we really get any benefit out of Whitney Dameron.
Which one?
Whitney Dameron.
Representative.
Say, there's no way to put a value on that, Bob. When I was at the elevator, we participated in 3 or 4 different lobbyists, but it was a smaller dollar amount than that for quite a bit, but I guarantee you, numbers and lobbyists, numbers count.
This new stuff.
This is new stuff. I put the word last on that. That's, where it's got last, that's last on that box. There's not much way to value it.
Probably one mistake we did make on that COVID trailer was tell Creighton we just want to rent the wire in the conduit, not buy it.
We just rented the wire.
We should have.
Oh.
Instead, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, because once we're done, what are we gonna do with it? So we probably ought to call him and see if he.
We can store it.
I guess.
If we put another building on
A lot of
it.
money.
What's that?
Or John,
Yeah.
And BG.
Oh, we got a place to store it.
Oh, yeah.
Cook flat.
Yeah. Phew, lots of money.
You know, Bob, on that lobbyist concerns me, a guy's gotta pay attention to what.
the only thing I have against it is we hire him and we pay dues to, county,
Kansas
Kansas
Association of
Association of
Kansas.
Counties, and I don't think Kansas Association of Counties has done a dadgum thing for the counties. All they've had a little agenda that they want for Johnson County and Wyandotte and Sedgwick and Shawnee. Other than that, they don't really care about the rest of the counties out here. We're no nothing to them.
They did give us a heads up on when we was up there to kinda watch, basically keeping your power in the county.
Yeah, what was the name of
There'd
that?
be some stuff that passed up there, but you wouldn't know about. I wouldn't.
Big thing is keeping the sheriff elected official.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only one county in the state that's not.
Well, one's trying to,
Last night, or a day or two ago, said there's just one county that.
right
that's
now,
where they appoint them.
we've got one county in Johnson County that wants to make him a appointed position.
We'll see, just before I came on, there was, actually it was Jean Mary and, Commissioner from Sedgwick County, yeah, that's the new stuff, Sedgwick County. They were trying to get away with all elected officials. That kinda takes away the checks and balances.
Fast.
Don't we have 2 or 3 fewer elected officials now than we did 20 years ago?
Who?
Well, I think there was, county appraiser, were they elected 20
No,
years ago?
Fraser's never been elected.
The appraiser never had.
Not
I
Kansas.
think there's a couple of them that are currently.
I don't know who it would be.
I don't know. I was thinking there was a couple.
I don't know who it would be.
I think Johnson County did away with the, I better not say, there's 2 or 3 elected officials that are no longer elected
In Johnson County.
in Johnson County.
That doesn't surprise me.
So they've only got 2 or 3 that are elected, 'cause we got 5 or 6 elected.
Yeah.
They're down to 2 or 3.
Is it what, is it Junction City, what county is that?
Junction City, Riley.
Riley and,
Riley County is, they're the one that has the appointed sheriff.
yes,
They're the only one in the state.
yes.
Just one over
Right,
there.
yeah.
Move, alright, I'll move this over.
So how's your latest insurance rate?
We're good.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't go up that much at all, really.
Well, my renewal comes next week. I'm always a little scared.
Actually,
I know what
our
mine
health
is, I don't know
insurance-
what your, I can't imagine what yours would be, that many vehicles on the road. Jeez.
Oh, it's probably close to. Just the trucks, probably 300. Trucks and trailers, and then you got your workman's comp and your other crap. Our health insurance actually went down a little bit.
Who's yours for?
It's through IPMG, it's kind of like a self-funded type deal.
Good way to be.
Wish I could've.
I'm gonna start doing that with my truck, warranties.
Yeah.
I went through every warranty, if you bought the max on every spot, it was $32,000 worth of warranties.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna take like $8,000 a truck, put it in every truck.
We used to lease from Ryder, and That's what they did.
Mhm.
They bought enough trucks.
They just funded their own warranty system, their
Yeah.
own warranty.
Good like finding a Ryder truck right now.
Yeah.
To rent.
Yeah. Well, that's why I bought that truck out there. Couldn't find any trucks, and they had one open. So I took it.
Nearest one I could find was Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, Peterbilt's not accepting any orders for 2022. No new orders.
And our truck is still in the,
Maybe you'll have to start buying international, yes.
No, sir.
You'll get a wheelbarrow first.
Yeah, I'll quit.
you have a quarter horse for sale, Bob?
I might want his mules or his donkeys or whatever he has.
At this rate, we may all be doing that.
Let's see if there's anything blasting on the world news here.
I've been trying to update my little gas saver.
Basically, Kenworth and Pete's.
Peterbilt's and Kenworth. Mm-hmm.
No Max either, huh?
And, the price of an old, used, gas-saving car has doubled.
Mm-hmm.
Went from 2,000, 2,500 to 5,000 and 6,000.
Yep, yep.
Little Chevrolet, not a Chevette, Cavalier.
If you get any new Chevettes, let me know, because I'd like to have one.
Cavalier, I'm sorry.
I know, but.
And they don't make them anymore, Bob.
I know it, that's what I said, let me know.
I found one, I called over to them for you and like to fainted.
I owned a Chevrolet Love one time, I bought it at the sheriff's auction here. I had to rebuild the engine, but man, I tell you what, I put a lot of miles on that little truck.
My little Cavalier, I had 283,000 miles on it. And I sold it for $1,000. And they still drove another 100.
Look at all the cars leaving.
I thought I had it wore out.
Bill Bowen's
Look
got
at
that
all the
little
cars
Chevy,
leaving
and
the
it might
city.
be a cat, I don't know what it is, it's a little one.
Ukraine,
Over
it's
600,000
capital,
miles
Ukraine.
on it.
Are they out
Of course, he's working on his number two, but he's got over 600,000 miles on it. He drove it back and forth to Lawrence every day for over 12 years.
Yeah.
It's Volvo developing.
My brother Jim had a Volkswagen
gonna be a bad
Rabbit
deal.
diesel car that he used to drive from Mountain City to
That's
Sugar
something
Creek,
serious.
Missouri. And it was the same way.
Is it tough to get ice? Yes, salt?
No,
No, no problem there.
no.
Is there any old
Got plenty, so
It's sticking, no problem.
CNN's headline, 5 things to know for February 24th. Just 5. Ukraine, COVID, police. CNN, I hate even tapping on this, it just infuriates me.
Ukraine, COVID, and police, that's.
Yeah, here, and Trump made it. 5 things to know, February 24th. Ukraine, COVID, police, violence, Trump, and Canada.
I knew Trump had to be in it.
They just can't quit talking about Trump.
That man controls the Democrat Party.
He
And he controls their life.
He's got an apartment in their head.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
An apartment. I don't even watch.
And he's living rent-free.
I will watch these 6 o'clock Topeka news.
I don't even watch that.
If I watch anything, I will not watch CNN, CBS, or none of that crap.
I don't even watch 13, no.
I don't even.
I do.
No.
I flip.
I just can't watch them.
I feel my blood pressure going down a little bit. I want to get it back up. I'll change the channel.
I just.
It won't be any better.
You know,
I've watched every episode of 2.5 Men 5 times since Trump left office.
Yeah.
I've watched every Gunsmoke, every Big Valley, all that. I watched all of them. You betcha. It's just a lot less stressful. No kidding.
I need to learn that, yeah.
Dude, I mean, I care, but, you know, I guess until there's an organization that actually, maybe this trucker organization is going to stand up and join in with it.
Maybe people, yeah. Some people gotta start standing
$5
up.
million worth.
We have to.
Never ever guess this kind of
See, our
stuff.
other company, actually, sure, when the auditor get here, it's gonna be, it'll probably be within 15 minutes, you know. I think it's going up to almost 8 million this year. And I don't wanna plead it either, but I think we need to be a little more aggressive. Rather than paying interest.
$5 million in interest, it's gonna be more than that now.
This is 3.5%.
Yeah, I'll bet you it's gonna be close to 4.
How about the
These
jail?
shares.
How about the jail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's-
Yeah, I'm looking at all this stuff we got here 2 years,
Yeah.
year ago. See, this projection there is 3.5%,
That's what I remember you did.
and $5 million interest if you go after the 20-year deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what this interest rate will do.
I had a radio communications meeting Tuesday after this meeting, and I got in on most of it. And when I got there, they were talking towers for communications in the county.
Mhm.
And I threw out to them that we had discussed the fact that Jacobs Creek, and maybe we could do towers together. So they were gonna, and actually, I think they have to have it done by Friday for a grant, but they were gonna look at, instead of putting possibly 370-foot towers up, maybe putting 2 400-foot towers up in the county. I think they were gonna talk to you, because I told them, I said, Jesse Knight would probably be willing to work some agreement with you for a tower somewhere on his place, because especially if we put internet on it, have good internet service. But anyway, they were looking at somewhere maybe south of Lebo to still cover that area and possibly reach into Jacobs Creek. And then another one possibly up here by maybe the state deal on 58-75 junction, where it would take care of Leroy and Waverly. Leroy and Waverly's a problem. Leroy and Gridley's a problem. Waverly is actually covered on all the communications because of the state tower.
Oh, okay.
So they're covered, but it's the Lebo, and then Burlington's covered too, so they're looking at possibly looking at something like that, and they're gonna have it back, maybe today or tomorrow.
They've got a tower there mile east on 58 and a half mile north there on Terry Trossel's ground, but I'm not sure what that tower's for. It had been up there, but had been there for about 2 years. It's right south, this Ben Spencer ground we're talking about.
But they thought maybe if they could, they had the guy here, he thought maybe if they went 400 feet high, it would really reach out and it would actually, it's benefit Hartford as well.
Say, where is that
And that
meeting
corner
at?
up in a little bit of southern Osage,
And the-
In Iowa, or
down here.
And Garnett.
Pretty well we
Anderson
cover the
County,
county.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, Garnett.
But they were looking at,
Well,
I'm not real sure, I think it was
I didn't get all the answers, so we'll,
$670,000
based on it Monday.
Tower.
plus another,
Like, it's usually registration's like 9
it
o'clock.
was gonna be about $1.5 million for the 2 towers and all the.
What do you deal
See
with
if they
there,
put the
maybe?
3 towers up, we've gotta buy,
Well,
$200-some thousand
opportunity
worth
to
of
meet other
equipment 3 times,
commissioners,
and
and
2 towers up,
they
and
use
it's
that
only 2
as
towers.
2 times.
So it might,
It might be cheaper.
might be cheaper to put the 2.
Informational.
And could get a lot more coverage.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's kinda like-
and
I'll
if
try
we
that.
do
It's
that,
kinda like
maybe
going
we
to
could put
Kate,
the,
see.
yeah, but
The
internet's
smaller
smaller for
scale.
Jacobs Creek and
Yeah.
stuff. It would be our towers,
Right.
so then we could put what we want, actually, we could lease some of it out if we want. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just because we have a 400-foot tower doesn't mean we have to put our stuff exactly to the very top.
Right, right.
But they're gonna do some coverage on that. So, they're working on it.
Some places, there are.
We're gaining. I'm the
individual
last holdout.
landowners are putting up towers, just so that it would be a hub to bounce off of for their neighbors to get. I've heard of this where, like, your neighbor has to pay you X amount of dollars a month to
Put their in.
feed off that.
When I threw your name out, I said, he might, I said, I don't know if he has a problem, but he would know people in that area that we're kind of looking at. I said, he probably do it, I think it was,
I tried T-Mobile for
Scott,
my internet.
Cop, no? I think he tried.
Oh.
Yes, he probably
They
did.
say we can cover anybody.
I said,
Doesn't have to be free.
It's something they're working on.
Mhm. Good.
So I'm glad we discussed it, because that was want to throw it in before.
Those checks go in that basket there, I think, Brandon.
Is that everything?
I
I
hope
think that's
so.
everything.
I don't think I
see
left
any other
anybody out.
boxes, too. Everything else is in that other basket. I think it's all there. If not, blame Bob for messing it up.
Sure.
Bob did it.
Are we good? Do we wanna discuss anything on the interest jail? Do we wanna just adjourn for today and roll on?
I think we need to get pretty aggressive on getting some people picked on committees,
Yeah.
cause that election day will be here before we know it.
Yeah,
That's what
so,
I talked to one person, he declined. He was
Well, I know
retired.
Goldberg here, they were talking about starting their, I call it the public sessions, if you will, May.
Mhm.
May or June, I suppose, way too early, but
Yeah.
At least get the ones we want, wants to be on it, picked and so.
Yeah, I don't know if something could go out in the paper.
That may not be a bad
Might not be a
idea.
bad idea. You know, Lebo, Newstron, Waverly, Gridley, Leroy, Burlington,
Yeah.
Jacobs Creek.
That's true, but if you, then you're just gonna get a bunch of the naysayers, or you.
Well, you're gonna
you
have
wanna
the
go out and-
naysayers.
You wanna go out and you wanna.
You're gonna
According
have-
to, if you know, we wanna try to pick people we think will support it, I mean, that's our whole goal.
Right, right.
well, that committee thing, when I was talking to, I think it was Wade, he had mentioned maybe a naysayer here or two, here or there wouldn't bother
Wouldn't be
anything.
bad.
on a
And there might
committee.
be some, yeah.
That way, you've got
Both
both
sides.
sides and
Okay.
have some.
We definitely gotta have to look at both sides anyway, but I think our committee probably needs to be a little bit more number-wise on the affirmative side myself, but.
Well, yeah, because we're doing this
We-
committee to get out to the public the
Mhm.
facts
Mhm.
and the need for it.
Even
not-
if there's a naysayer out there, as long as they have the facts, they've still got the facts.
Exactly, I mean, that's what the committee is for, is to present
He can
facts, not.
present the facts and say, oh, I'm still not for it.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is what the deal is.
I'm hoping eventually a person that's not for it may be convinced.
Well, that's the
What?
other objective.
I tell you what, they walk into this jail down here and
They'll
they'll be
take a
convinced.
look at it, they'd understand.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
we-
outdated, that's for sure.
I mean, we brought the beds down from 96 to 60.
Is it 60? For some reason, I thought that was 50. but anyway.
The last deal was 60, I think.
Okay.
Last piece of paper, went up.
This presentation here the other day was 60.
There's a lot of problems in that old jail.
Should be on the front page of your
It's
paperwork
six-
there.
This proposal here was 60.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
So I did 60.
I'm wrong.
With option of having two more pods.
Yeah.
Two more 16.
Yes, I think we want
16
an option.
added to it. but-
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, we don't wanna rule that
Because we
out.
don't want somebody down the road going through the same thing.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
but, no, you know, the interest rate deal, you know, I mean,
Well, it's not like we can't finance the whole thing,
I know.
and maybe that's economically the way to go.
Well, we could pay ourselves $5 million versus somebody else.
True. And again, maybe that's one of those study sessions we ought to have on a Monday after a normal Monday meeting, and actually look at the numbers and come to a conclusion.
I think that'd be a good idea.
I think we got all the numbers we had here
Just sit
a
down.
year ago. I mean, I've still got all mine and all the other numbers that was presented to us.
Sit down, revisit
I'm
it.
gonna revisit them over the weekend.
Even though you're gonna pull some money out of the reserve, you can still rate it and charge yourself interest, I would think.
And I know we can finance it, but I guess I'm gonna be the opposition on the financing, because I've been here long enough to know that we've had to dip into reserves,
Mhm.
and there's been things that happen, you know, catastrophe or something would happen, then we don't have those reserves sitting there.
Yeah.
Then we're out paying big interest somewhere else, so,
But how much is too much?
I don't know.
I mean, what's that magic, it's kinda like the road and bridge, what's the magic number of personnel, you know, what's the magic number for reserves?
It's kinda like the hospital, I always said, I'm willing to help the hospital, but from the very beginning, I said, don't know what the number is for sure yet, but there's gonna be a number where I'm gonna say, whoa, that's the end of it.
Wow.
We can't continue to do that.
I'd like to see them at least break
And-
even.
Yeah.
And I think,
That dinner meeting I had with them the other day, here a month ago, I mean, it was very positive, but there's only so far we can go. But when the auditors get done this year, the unencumbered cash in the reserve is gonna be probably 49 to 50 million, so, but that can reverse a little bit too down the road.
I'm big on having a cushion saved back.
I am as well.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a cushion, but there is a point
Yes.
where you don't wanna, maybe not pay yourself, but be careful about paying too much interest out when you've got a reserve sitting there earning nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, gotta find a compromise someplace. It'd be nice to know what our, by the time we get into this real deep, we'll know what our evaluation is for 23 too.
to me, the key is right now, we gotta get together and sell this to the public.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna make any difference how it's supported otherwise.
And then the big part of that's how you gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the last.
So that's the first thing you wanna know, the location's been established, those are the 2 questions.
Mhm.
Where, how much, well, that's 3 questions. Where, how much, and how you gonna pay for it?
I think, to me,
How
there,
much is anybody's guess. on that.
there's an issue, and it might be as Jesse refers to sometimes the white elephant in the room. If the public don't support this, then what are we gonna do?
Mhm.
Because we gotta have a jail.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there should really be discussion and determine if it's not supported by the public, we're still going to spend money and do something on a jail.
Mhm.
And what we end up doing, maybe doing exactly what we're doing with the public
Right.
support.
Right.
And that projection cost was 40% of the new.
Mhm.
Why would you put 40%
In that.
in something that's totally outdated and don't have any expansion possibilities with it?
And maybe get 4 to 5 beds is all we're gonna get.
Four's all he's talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
No, but I'm thinking, if the public don't support it, we're still maybe doing close to exactly what we're asking them to support.
Yeah.
Well, we're at that crossroads to where something's gotta be done.
So, I'm gonna already got a couple people in mind for, one of them is actually from the city of New Strongham. I talked to the mayor and said,
I have
think that
one.
person would be good, and then I got one from
I'm sure
country that
I
I
can, too.
actually contacted over a year ago when we were talking about this community deal, and wasn't real strong for it, but he not opposed to it also, and would like to be a part of it, so.
I think we need contact with.
I think it's a very common-headed person.
No?
Out of the public, I haven't heard as much negativity about it. I mean, where it's going is, don't seem to be a big deal.
That kind of dropped, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
I mean, everything's not as, you're just adding on the new jail, that's great, 60 beds. We're downsizing it from,
96, 93, something.
yeah, whatever the original was, so. I
Remodeling the courtrooms.
I think it's a big plus, so.
Well, I suppose we probably need to get back in contact with the bond guy,
Find out how much
See where we're
changes that interest is.
see if there's been any much changes. I mean, I know by the time we do it, I'm sure there's gonna be changes.
Bobby's got his contact, right?
He was out of Kansas City, I think, wasn't he?
Yes.
So, well,
Knowing that could make a lot of difference on what we do, how much, if we put in, and how much we're not, and that stuff would make a lot of difference.
I mean, back when we was talking about it, interest or money was cheap to loan, and so it wasn't such a bad idea, but if we're talking another point and a half, and we've got it sitting in the reserves.
That's another answer to a question we need to have,
Yeah.
I suppose later, so do we need to
I'd make the
have
decision.
Bobby get a hold of him, have him
Revisit
send
it.
something that we can at least read?
Right.
And see
Yeah.
where we might gonna be.
I'll agree.
Yeah. I'm sure that guy's still got our paperwork. I'm sure you can just still, and you're talking the same amount of money.
Right.
I mean, I think we was even up to 30 million in
Yeah,
a rough, worst case scenario.
right.
We were.
All you gotta do is change one number in his computer, he
Yeah,
can have it printed out. in
Well,
5
we're
minutes.
looking at 25 to 27 million, so you might as well just use the 27 to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know Larry's projection was 25, but
Yeah.
by the time this all gets done,
I guess it's kinda like Jennifer said this morning, just because we got grants and got it, we don't have to spend it.
right.
But if we don't get it, we can't spend it.
Right. Yep, very true. Well, have we had enough for the second day of this week?
I have.
Better get home before we get snowed in.
We might have to close.
I may have to ride a mule home.
Well, I guess, you can do it, I've got one out there that needs some riding on it.
Check with Bob and have him check with that.
Yeah, I'll stop by and see if he's around.
She needs some riding.
This original presentation was
All
done
right.
2.5.
Want her bareback or a saddle?
2.5 and 3.5.
I'd prefer a saddle.
And a different
That too.
level.
Right. I guess if nobody has anything else, we'll adjourn at 11:50.